All right, hi, welcome to the Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. Tonight, we're going to be talking about some values. No, AJ, not the McDonald's value menu. We mean fantasy football ADP values. We'll be right back.
The Fantasy Six-Pack Hour with your hosts, Joe Bond and AJ Applegarth.
Touchdown!
All right. Welcome again, Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. My name is Joe Bond, founder of FantasySixPack.net. With me tonight, AJ Applegarth. What's going on?
Not much. Just getting back from the Golden Arches, apparently. So
I might have made myself hungry. That's cool though. Figure it out.
What you get for making fun of me?
That's cool. And Corey Pieper, what's up, man?
The value menu is back there. As from what I'm told, they got to try to make some money back because everybody was leaving them. So value menu's back, but it's still not as cheap as it was. So that's
yeah.
Not in these harsh economic times.
Not in these harsh economic times. Yeah, I'm good otherwise. Doing well.
All right. So tonight we are going to be rolling through some ADP, comparing it with some of the rankings that are out there, and finding those values for you all to take advantage of in your drafts, good or bad. The guys to kind of stay away from that are going too high, and the guys that go after that are going too low. Just as something to keep in mind when you're entering your drafts this year. But before we do that, reminder to jump on over to FantasySixPack.net to become an all-access member. You're going to get access to the draft cheat sheet, the award-winning rankings. We've got player projections. And then, of course, all of our baseball stuff is still up. During the season, you're going to get all the DFS and the betting content that we've got over there. And then our Discord, where the Discord is free, but we've got some members-only channels and where you get access to us to ask, all your custom league questions that you want. And, so that's what we've got. So let's just jump.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah, good call, man. Corey and I are doing a daily baseball show about 20 minutes every morning. It drops hopefully around 8 or 9 o'clock every day. Just a quick recap of the day before, some of the stuff that we had up on the site. I think today was drops, if I believe was right. So tomorrow we'll be kind of highlighting the weekend pitchers, and then kind of a quick look at next week's like 2-start pitchers and stuff like that, since I do drop the pitching planner on Friday. But it's good stuff. I'm having fun doing it. And so it's quick and dirty, but it's good. It's good stuff. So make sure you hit that subscribe and like button. Those are only on
podcasts.
Yes, those are only on Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen. We do not put those up on YouTube. So go ahead and check out our Fantasy Six-Pack Hour podcast feed wherever you check out podcasts, and that's where you will find those. So let's finally jump into things here. And so we've just got some guys highlighted. We're just going to kind of rip through them here. And a guy that Corey, you wanted to bring up here, Cedric Tillman. His rank right now is hovering around 145-ish. ADP though much lower at 184. So it's a pretty good value here, multiple round value at this point if you want to go after him. I think what you're seeing here is, there's probably some leagues where he's just not getting drafted. And then there's a few leagues where he's getting drafted in what? I don't even know what round that is. Like 13th, 14th, 15th round. Like someone's taking a crack at him. But you seem like you are a fan of Cedric Tillman.
I am a fan of Cedric Tillman. So it started slow, which has been the story of Cedric Tillman's career last season. It started slow the first few weeks. the first 6 games last season, he had a total of 3 catches for 9 yards. That ain't very good. But then I believe it was week 7 when I think it was Jameis stepped in at that time. But just listen to some of these weeks, though. Like 12 targets, 8 catches for 81 yards, finished as PPR as the wide receiver 10. 7 catches for 99 yards and 2 touchdowns, finished as the wide receiver 3. That was 9 targets. 6 catches for 75 yards and a touchdown, wide receiver 12. So back-to-back top 12 finishes, and that was 11 targets. Then they had their bye week. Then he had 8 targets, but he only caught 3 of them for 47 yards. So finished as the wide receiver 50. That ain't great. And then the following week was the 2 catches for 28 yards, and he got concussed. And then we didn't see him again. Yeah. But when he was out there, that stretch, and it's only a 3-game stretch in a 2-season career, 3-season career. But if you're getting that many targets, I'm willing to take a chance on you. So if you're giving me a value where he's getting picked, what would you say the ADP is here? 184th? I'll push that up around or 2.
57th
healthy.
57th receiver going off the board. Yeah, I mean, I think the big problem, and like we're seeing value across the board. You know, if you believe in it, right, it's value, and I agree. I do agree that it is a value. I do have him ranked 150th overall, so it's still down there. 184 is too far. If he's sitting there near the end, I'm probably going to snag him. Just why not? The problem is, and we all know it. Who's the quarterback? Yeah. You know, there's a saying, right? Like if you've got too many quarterbacks, you don't have one, right? So it's who's the guy. And AJ, I don't know, what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, the guy should be Joe Flacco to start. Jay Facalicious, you know, the Pizza Hut spokesman. He needs to be there to start. I mean, he's gonna have, he's gonna have a handful of games, you know, in the tank. I feel like we kind of saw him tail back off again last year after a few starts. So, you know, I don't have a lot of high hope for him, but maybe early on in the season, assuming he is the number 1 starter. But you know, we've seen what he's done with Njoku, and you know, just in general when he went on that tear in fantasy playoffs 2 years ago. So I think he can still be a value. He being Tillman, he's definitely still a value to me in those first few weeks. You know, we'll find out more in camp to see what the other plethora of quarterbacks actually can do. And if one of them stands out more and takes the job from Flacco, I mean, he might still be a little in on Tillman, but it's hard not to be with the, you know, that ADP and where he's falling to.
Yeah.
I mean, he could be the easy dart throw, you know, late round target, and he just pans out, you know, assuming he stays healthy and stays on the field. I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah. So next up here on our list, another really late receiver here, and we've got the New York Giants receiver Wan'Dale Robinson, rank of around 170 right now. His ADP is all the way out at 193. So, I mean, in most leagues, just straight up not getting drafted. So he had a boatload of targets last year. Did he catch 100 or did he just have over 100 targets? I'm blanking on that for some reason right now. But it was definitely
he had 100.
Yeah, it was a lot.
He had 140 targets.
Yeah,
140 targets.
The problem was he turned those 140 targets into 699 yards. It's unbelievable. Like 93 catches, 699 yards. Terrible quarterback play for the Giants last year. Russell Wilson is going to be better. It's just a matter of, is it going to matter enough for Wan'Dale Robinson? You know, they've got Tyrone Tracy, Scottaboo. Obviously, Neighbors is like the guy. They still don't have anybody else, I believe, that could be the number 2. So PPR leagues, absolutely.
Let's not forget about Darius Slayton here. Okay, guy's an animal.
See,
I think he's still on the Giants.
with an ADP of 224, by the way.
Right
so
there.
going a half 3 rounds later. I think the problem is with Robinson is just in a bye week, like if you were like multiple flex bye week type fill in desperation play, fine PPR leagues only. I think is the only way you can go get him. I do have him as a value and more of a value than consensus rankings have right now across the industry here. There's not a lot of upside here for me with Robinson. I don't know, Corey, do you disagree? You think there is some upside?
Oh, the upside is that, like you said, Russell Wilson's better, and they actually use him in a similar role to the way that Tyler Lockett was used in Seattle. That's would be the upside, is if he takes that type of a role, and instead of just having Malik Neighbors win at all levels of the field, Wan'Dale Robinson. Take a guess what this dude's ADOT was last year. Anybody?
His ADOT was probably like
ADOT, probably like
2.6.
Not that low. It's in the fours. It's in the fours.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing that's one of the lowest in the league. I don't know. I didn't bring it up to figure out how to sort it. I think he had 4 catches over 20 yards all season with a long of 35. So I don't expect. Here's the thing. I don't expect him to get 140 targets again. I think that probably comes down. But let's say he gets 120 targets and he still catches. I mean, he had 93 catches last season. So maybe he gets 70 catches. And instead of 7 yards a catch, it gets to 10 yards a catch, something like that. We get to around the same amount of mark again, and he's usable in a PPR league as a streamer. Do I want to start Wan'Dale Robinson? No. But should you be okay keeping him on your bench early on in the season, especially in something that you get a half point or full point for PPR, just in case? I said, just in case, Russell Wilson makes him better, Jaxon Dart, whoever it is, makes him better. I think so. I think I want him on my bench, and if it's 2 weeks in and he's had 6 catches for 53 yards, I'll move on. But if he's had 12 catches for that point and you're at 120 yards, I'll probably keep him around. So he's someone I want towards the end of drafts in PPR, but I'm not actively looking to play him early on in the season.
No. Notable receivers with a lower ADOT than Wan'Dale Robinson, Curtis Samuel, but Marquise Brown,
Hollywood, not so Hollywood.
Only played a few games though, so whatever. Let's see here. That might be it, man. That legit might be it. There was somehow a guy who caught one pass for 8 yards with a -5 ADOT.
Who was it?
Velus Jones Jr.
Jones.
Yeah,
Chicago.
caught a little wheel route in the back
Chicago.
in the backfield and took it for a 13-yard. He ran for 13 yards, but only gained 8. Good job. There's another dude who had a -2 ADOT and took it for 69 yards. Holy cow! That's a play.
Who was that? Man, that was a bit
Tyrell
of a play.
Shavers, Buffalo Bills wide receiver. I don't even know who that is. I'm not gonna lie. These are fun stats.
Not on our depth charts.
These are fun stats to look up. Thanks to Fantasy Data for that. Gotta give them a little shout out there. We do love our friends over there at Fantasy Data. And by the way, they revamped their stats page this year. I will come out and say it. 2 years ago, I loved it. Last year, I don't know what they did. It was not a great product last year. I was having a hard time finding what I could 2 years ago, and I was kind of pissed. I never said anything to them because they were, I just had other things to do, but it was not good. And this year they've totally redone it, and everything is back, and it's actually easier to find that was 2 years ago. I love it. So I'm going to be utilizing this a lot again, thankfully. All right, next up, anybody else want to run with some of these?
Yeah. So the next guy we got here is Rico Dowdle, however you want to say it. Interesting case here. He is sitting at a negative. Oh no, that's the wrong one. Sorry. It is ranked 19, maybe. His ADP is at 163. His rank right now is at 144. Position rank, he's running back 49. So Joe, what are you doing with Dowdle on the new team?
Yeah, so I'm actually the opposite way. So ADP, according to, according to this, ADP is higher than the consensus right now. So, meaning that if you were to look at ADP and you look at the consensus, you're probably reaching for Dowdle before everybody else is. I'm the opposite. I don't want anything to do with him. I really don't. I think Chuba Hubbard is there, and I think that's it. I just don't see Dowdle doing a whole lot. I really don't. Who else do they have there? Is it?
They
Well,
drafted
Miles
Travis
Sanders.
Etienne's brother, Trevor
yeah,
Etienne.
Trevor.
Yeah,
There.
and it's just I don't know. I just don't have a lot of interest in Dowdle. I think Chuba Hubbard has proven that he is going to be the workhorse back there, and until I don't know, and nothing right now. There's I'm trying to think of the running back they drafted. Blanking on his name, but he's probably not playing this year. Yeah, Jonathan Brooks. He's probably not playing this year. Now, if he was in the mix, then maybe we got a different story. But obviously he's untouchable for me, Jonathan Brooks. But Dowdle doesn't do anything for me, and I think you're drafting Dowdle and basically the only way he returns value is if Hubbard gets hurt. Otherwise, you're getting you're going to get some like cheap games where he rushes for a touchdown here and there, and you can be like, yeah, see, I told you. Like, good luck guessing those. It's also still going to be a pretty mediocre offense. I'm not going to lie.
So here I have a assumption as to why this is happening, and I fully agree with Joe. If you want to handcuff Chuba Hubbard, if you get him early on and take Rico Dowdle later, that's fine. But otherwise, I have no desire to take him. But here's my guess as to why this is happening. There are 16 backs last year who rushed for over 1,000 yards, and Rico Dowdle's one of them. But like if you're in the fantasy draft and you sort it by players, and he's probably far and away the last one that's on the board, and someone's just like, hey, that guy had 1,000 yards last year. I'm not paying that much attention, and someone jumps on it and takes him. But it's not going to happen. But barring an injury to Chuba Hubbard, he will not get the ball that much. I should have pulled it up. The backup last year to Chuba Hubbard was Miles Sanders. Did he even get? I doubt he got 100 carries. If he didn't,
he was not good.
He had 55 carries last season.
55 carries.
Now, he didn't play every game, but that's 10 games right there, 5 carries a week. That's kind of what I'm expecting out of Dowdle, unless something happens to Chuba. So I pass.
You want me to give you the real reason why this is happening? He played for Dallas, and people know his name. I mean,
and it's fun because now Miles Sanders plays for Dallas, so it's like they just did a trade of mediocre running backs.
There you go. All right,
I'll take the next one here. So that is wide receiver Christian Kirk going within the division from Jacksonville to the Houston Texans. AJ, what do you think of Christian Kirk?
I'm not a good person to ask. he burned me bad, and
you're a Stroud fan. You gotta like him.
I do like Stroud, but yeah, after last year's injury debacle, and it just I've lost all interest in Captain Kirk here. But all that said, when he's healthy, he is a talented receiver. Mm-hmm. I like him coming to this offense. As Joe said, I'm a fan of Stroud, so I want to see the Stroud bounce back. And Christian Kirk, while not as talented as Stephon Diggs, he's also not as loud as Stephon Diggs. So I don't think he's going to be, the locker room annoyance that Diggs seems to turn into on his teams. There's still a lot of guys in this room for receivers, though. That's kind of the only thing that's it's not keeping me from Kirk because they're all rookies, or they're Tank Dell, who's never healthy. So I decide. I'm a little hesitant on where to go in.
Are you hearing that?
I am. I don't know, AJ. Are you hearing that random like beeping noise? That might be something with your mic, man. I don't know what's going on, but all of a sudden it's like a beep 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 beep.
Yeah.
Anyway,
don't
hear it right this second.
I don't hear it right now either. But for a second there, I thought you were doing Morse code to us.
Maybe. Paging Christian Kirk.
So what? Look, the reason why I do like Christian Kirk a little bit more than I think the consensus right now, and more so than even ADP is, he is the number 2 receiver in that room right now. Tank Dell not going to be there. Diggs not going to be there. You talk about just those 2 guys alone. That's 145 targets missing. They gotta go somewhere. I mean, what we've seen Christian Kirk do it before. The guy's only 28. He's still gonna have, juice left in the tank. So like, I just think Christian Kirk is being slept on big time here, and he's somebody who I was really eyeing up in Scott Fish. I did not land him. Unfortunately, someone got him just a couple picks in front of me, but it is what it is. I just think we're talking about how, like, AJ, you mentioned it, like it's a crowded room. Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel, like, really? I'm not scared about those guys at all. I think Christian Kirk is going to help this offense out tremendously. I think Diggs was a problem there, and it actually, was probably one of the reasons why Stroud had a bad year, besides the fact that he was running around like crazy trying not to get killed. Unfortunately, that's not going to get fixed. That's one big problem. So, I like Kirk this year way more than the consensus.
I tend to agree that I like Kirk more. He's another one kind of like Cedric Tillman that's being depressed because of all of the injuries history that Christian Kirk has had. Remember last season it was collarbone that ended the season early. The year before that his season ended early with didn't he break his sternum? Or I think it was what he did the year before. He broke his sternum.
Something.
So I mean that's part of it, right? Is we've only seen him play, I think, a full season, maybe the first season in Jacksonville, if I remember right. But I'm willing to take a shot on him late. I think if I were to just kind of summarize some of these guys together that we talked about here, I want Tillman first, then Kirk, then Wan'Dale Robinson as bench options. That would be my personal ranking of those 3.
Yeah, I would agree with that ranking. We've already droned on about Robinson and his crazy low ADOT, but the rookies don't really scare me, but I did pay attention a lot to them last year thanks to the fantasy league that we ran, college football. So maybe I'm a little biased because of that, but I mean they are talented guys, but they've never played in the NFL. So even though Kirk's been injured a lot, he has plenty of NFL experience and has been successful at this level. So it's a little TBD for what to expect out of Higgins and Noel. But, Nico, regardless, Nico's the main guy. So
speaking of that college league, man, we're trying to get it fired back up, man. You got to jump back in. And it's, of course, we sent it out on the Discord. Corey set it up for us. Of course, we're jumping back over into Fantrax to play because it is the only place to play and the best place to play. So if you are interested in playing your leagues over there and jumping into college fantasy football, which is awesome, by the way, join for free.
It's a lot of fun.
Fantrax.com/fantasy six-pack. Create your free league right there. It is good. Corey, you're being told you look like you're flying a 747 with those headphones. It's pretty funny. Permission to buzz the tower.
You do what you want, Uncle Ted.
The pattern is full. Yeah, I got the reference. Yeah, I mean, look, I get so Rachaad White. Are we talking about him next?
Yeah.
So Rachaad White is next up here. And I know Corey, this is somebody who I think you are kind of shocked at how low he's going. And I tend to agree with you, but not quite as much, I think. So, in fact, I'm a little lower than consensus on him. Yeah, I think the changing of the offensive coordinator, I think is going to impact things here. I think we saw what Rachaad White is going to become as the season went on. He's going to become the passing back. He works better in space. He takes too much time in the backfield to where Bucky Irving he's just gonna go, and that worked really well for that team, and they're gonna lean on that. And I mean, there was, from week 10 on last year in half PPR, Bucky Irving was RB7. And Rachaad White was still RB21, so not too bad. He did have a spike week of 23.9. So,
but I just think
must have been a week where Bucky got hurt because he only had 2.3. But yeah, he's being a little undervalued. I just worry, like, they brought in another receiver who we'll get into later. The losing of the offensive coordinator, which made Baker Mayfield good somehow. So who knows what happens, right? There's just a lot of things that make you want to go shy away from Rachaad White. Maybe we're going too far.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
And that's kind of my thoughts, is that I think it's just went too far because look, I think a lot of people feel burned by Rachaad White because his rookie season was RB4 in PPR, and then Bucky Irving came in. People drafted him pretty high last season. I drafted him high in some spots, and Bucky Irving came in as a 4th round rookie and was clearly better. And I expect that'll be the case this season. But I think we've just all completely written Rachaad White off here, and he's still viable. I don't think that suddenly they're going to just say, Bucky Irving, you're getting 250 carries and you're taking 80 targets here in this offense. I don't think that's how they want to use him. Rachaad White had 144 carries last season. He caught 51 passes. That's nearly 200 touches. Like you said, even when it felt like he wasn't doing anything, he finished, even in that second half as it slowed down, he finished a lot of times as the top 24 half-point PPR back. And yeah, it's a lot of pass catching, but there's still weeks 12 carries, 11 carries, 17 carries, 15 carries, and then it drops off. But I just think it's went to the point where people just completely are giving up hope, and I'm willing to put Rachaad White on my bench and keep him around as a flex option in some weeks in the right matchups. And if Bucky Irving were to go down, God forbid that happens, Rachaad White's a borderline top 12 back who can be had very late.
Yeah. I mean, I took him as it wasn't meant to be a handcuff. Like in Scott Fish, I'm not I mean, you can handcuff a ton in Scott Fish because we have 22 roster spots. So, go ahead. But I did. I took Rachaad White and I drafted Bucky Irving early in that one. So I've got both guys. And yeah, I mean, if anything were to happen to Bucky Irving, I mean, Rachaad White's going to go right into my starting lineup for sure.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's still, he's still only 26 years old. Got a couple seasons under his belt now, but just looking at his offensive snaps last year, he was basically in the 40s. The first 3 out of the first 5 games. Then he was inactive in week 6. But then he stayed consistent with that, mid to high 30s, and a couple more 40 spots towards the end of the season there. So it's not like he's just getting kicked out of the offense altogether for Bucky Irving. He's still going to have value, especially as a handcuff. I mean, that's the obvious value there.
Yeah.
But I mean, he may be one of the top handcuffs this year, honestly, because he's still going to get you a decent amount of points. Like some of these other guys, maybe a Charbonnet could be close, but I think Bucky's going to have a great season, but it's going to be on the ground. It's not going to be that much through the air.
The one thing that, and maybe it's just too small of a sample size, the last couple of games, Rachaad White didn't see the field very much, and it wasn't used. And so that, I think that's what's really sticking in people's heads. Plus the playoff, and it was also the playoff game. It was all Bucky Irving, and so it's like, man, when it mattered most, they had to get in. They had to win those games to get into the playoffs. They lean on Bucky and not Rachaad White. There's a lot of efficiency stats that go against Rachaad White too. So there's a lot to it. I do like him a little bit better, but I'm not. He's not going to be somebody that I'm going to like overly target. No. So I'll say that. The last guy here, or not the last guy, two last guys here that we're going to highlight here as far as values. And then we've got like a cluster of guys that we're just going to like rifle through. Jaylen Waddle. We've mentioned him a couple of times, especially now that Johnny Smith is not there and they've brought in Darren Waller, who's already on the pup. It's kind of I know it's just, nuance, but it's just still kind of funny to hear that happen. You're like, wait, really? Okay. Jaylen Waddle ADP right now of around 72. I've got him ranked 60th, so I like him a whole round earlier, and consensus ADP or consensus ranks are right around that too. So I'm not buying back into Jaylen Waddle like we were a couple years ago, where he was a late second round pick, but I think where he's going in drafts is, what is that, 6th roundish? I can do my math.
I don't have the thing up.
72 is the back of the 6th round.
Yeah.
So, I think that's too far, especially now that Johnny Smith is gone. Assuming Tua can stay upright, I think we're going to see Waddle get back to where he was before, just a target machine. And Waddle needs to stay on the field too. Let's be real.
Yeah,
but I do like Waddle, and I'm probably going to have quite a bit of him if he slides that far in drafts.
Yeah, I really like his value here this year. And you said it with Jonnu out and him in. I know I poo-pooed A-Chain a couple weeks ago, and you guys totally put me in the place about it, but I still am standing by my word there. But somebody's got to get these targets, and I think it's going to be split between him and Waddle more than anybody else. I mean, you're looking at a backfield of Jalen Wright, Alexander Madison could get some touches there, but he's clearly a backup. And Wright was their draft pick a few years ago. Didn't get a ton of playing time. So it's interesting to see what he could potentially bring. But, receiver-wise, you've got Nick Westbrook-Akine, who came over. You've got D. Eskridge, who's, a role guy that was with Seattle for a bunch of years. Malik Washington, Eric Azukama, Kenma, whatever it is. None of those guys excite me, really.
Say that one again.
Which one?
Izu
Kenma.
That was better.
Spell it or sound it like it's spelled.
Right.
But yeah, I think Waddle's he's definitely gonna get his targets this year. As long as Tua is not on his back, I think he'll be okay.
Yeah, you guys kind of said
Sorry,
it.
anything, or you
guys kind of said it like Jaylen Waddle is one of my main targets in the 6th round. I think that it's a screaming value. Maybe it won't come to fruition, but like you said, we were valuing with the back of the 2nd round last year. I'm not really sure that much has changed. Jonnu Smith's gone. Like you said, that doesn't. So there was talk last year that he was as good as Tyreek Hill. We still haven't really. That's still in there. He's younger. I think it's still within there. So I'd love to get him in the 6th round, especially wide receiver 3. If I can get him there, gold.
I don't think Jaylen Waddle is nearly as fast, but okay.
I think he's better underneath than Tyreek Hill is.
Sure. I get that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're gonna.
I think it was. I don't have the ADP from last year, but I'm pretty sure it was pretty close at times, at least.
It was. Yeah, people did like Waddle a lot last year.
Yeah.
But you could get Waddle like a whole round later though, at times, and I was all over that. Got burned by it big time. So.
All right, well, the next guy we got up here is Jalen McMillan, going back to that Tampa Bay well here. His current ADP is sitting at a 172, and his ranking is up at 163, so still fairly close. But, I mean, Joe, where do you have McMillan?
I'm the opposite way. Now we get more Godwin, possibly not going to be ready to start the year. Things going to change. But yeah, you bring in Ibuka. I think there's just that is actually how you pronounce it.
I want to shout out that Joe just said it right on air after all the issues off air.
I may have Googled it. Hey, do my research. No, it's just, when they bring in a guy like that, that just tells me McMillan was a great story down the stretch, and I rostered him anywhere I could. He was amazing.
Yeah.
He's a secondary receiver on a team like this who's got a ton of weapons. I mean, we're forgetting about Kate Otten too. Like he's awesome. There's just too many weapons there. And when they drafted Ibuka, it was kind of like, oh man, well, goodbye to McMillan, especially with Godwin coming back. Now, look, if Godwin is legit out, because he did have apparently a second surgery on his ankle in the spring. There's no, we don't know what it really means, but he's not practicing yet. So, okay, that's not good. Then McMillan is going to have some value, at least to start the year, right? But as of right now, if I'm expecting Godwin to play, I'm not touching McMillan. I think it's a waste of a pick.
Corey?
Yeah, I tend to agree with a lot of what Joe said there. Down the stretch, he was awesome. Finished as a top 20 wide receiver each of the last 5 games there. Now, part of that is also that he caught touchdowns in each of those games that you can't expect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Over the last 5 games, he had 7 touchdowns, which is
nuts.
Baker was awesome. That's not going to happen. But now, where does he fall in the pecking order? He's behind Mike Evans. Even if Chris Godwin's hurt, he's wide receiver 3. I think Emeka Ibuka is going to be clearly wide receiver 2. And then we just talked about the 2 running backs who are going to get touches on this offense. Bucky Irving's going to be involved. Rachaad White's going to be involved. Kate Otten's going to be involved. I don't understand the Jalen McMillan hype for wide receiver 4 on probably his own team when Chris Godwin's healthy. And so, no, I have not taken Jalen McMillan anywhere. He's not someone I really look at. I guess if you wanted to handcuff him with Chris Godwin for a while, that could be interesting. But I'm not taking a lot of handcuffy wide receivers at that point. I'd rather just take my shot on Cedric Tillman or some of the other guys we talked about who could be more than that.
I mean, the other thing you think about last year, the perfect example of various weapons and too many mouths to feed on this team. Sterling Shepard became a name again last year for a few weeks.
Right.
I mean, and nothing against Shepard. He's had a decent career. Granted,
Chad,
it had to be with the. There you go.
Speaking of Sterling Shepard, Chad brings him up in the chat here. I don't know if I'm rather having Sterling Shepard. Here. No way, but I feel you.
But Shepard, he spent the majority of his career with the Giants, so we know how that goes. But
So-
he was good last year.
Corey, you brought up just like he kept finishing as a top 20 receiver every week the last 5 weeks of the season. It was most weeks it was inside the top 15, a couple of weeks inside the top 10. Overall, the last 5 weeks, does anybody know where he finished in half PPR?
I
8.
would think maybe 6.
Man, y'all split it. 7. That's still amazing. Like, incredible. I mean, he outperformed Mike, or no, he was 2 behind Mike Evans during that same stretch. I mean,
Who at that time was getting force fed the ball so that he could get 1,000 yards again.
oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he had 24 receptions, 5 touchdowns.
Maybe. I'd rather have a backup kicker than Sterling Shepard. Maybe.
I mean,
yeah,
just say you wanted him.
Nah.
No, we're
But
good.
yeah, the
Maybe backup defense. AJ knows something about that.
that's right. It's thinking right there.
Maybe we should talk about Chad's comment
Yeah.
about AJ Barner and Elijah Arroyo up there. Put that one on.
Wait, what?
I'll talk about that.
Pre-draft.
Pre-draft AJ Barner. That one. Yep.
I didn't see this one. Sorry. So Chad says pre-draft AJ Barner was a pretty well-known sleeper, but then they drafted Arroyo. Do you think Arroyo is one who gets the ADP spike now that Fant is gone, or any of my, or
So
are my
we
hopes cheap?
are going to talk about Noah Fant retiring, or
Mhm.
cut, not retiring, getting cut. But
It's like what?
Elijah,
Now that really bodes.
he might be into
poorly.
forced retirement. But Elijah Arroyo was the 3rd tight end drafted in the last draft here by the Seahawks, who have had success at times with tight ends. And big downfield weapon out of Miami. Did like Elijah Arroyo a lot. But I also think that I was kind of interested in AJ Barner before they drafted Elijah Arroyo. Like, I think it was 2 of the last 3 weeks he was top. He scored touchdowns at least, and he had like 3 touchdowns in the last couple months of the season last year. So I am somewhat interested in AJ Barner. I wouldn't like be completely against keeping him in a dynasty league. Like for redraft, no until you see it. But I would not give up hope on AJ Barner at some point there, Chad.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a great first name, so can't go wrong with that.
Fun fact from Jamie. Nope, that's the wrong one. It moved on me. Damn it, you guys. Fun fact: Barner was 2nd in touchdowns for rookie tight ends last year.
Yeah.
All right.
I remember he scored 3 at the very end. I think he had
4.
maybe one
He's
more.
got
So was it
4
4
total.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, three from week 13 on.
So yeah, I'm not off
30
completely.
catches.
Yeah, that's pretty good ratio.
That's going to be one of those.
It's like a best ball.
Wait and see. Yeah.
Not in redraft, but
And I was going to mention that too. Fans visiting with the Bengals. So, but that doesn't matter. He's got no value. All right. So I told you we'd rifle through a couple of guys here. So some higher profile names, they have value as far as ADP compared to consensus ranks here. It's not a lot. It's like a few, it's like 4 or 5 picks, half a round, that kind of stuff. But just some guys that I think, notable inside the top 100, some of them in the top 50. So George Kittle going around ADP of around 38, rankings around 33. I'm actually kind of the opposite way with him, especially in any sort of like PPR, half PPR formats. Like I think he loses a little value. I don't want to. I don't take the George Kittle. I don't take him in redraft leagues. He does get hurt a lot. So I will take him if he is a value, but I don't think he is going to be as far as like consensus ranks. David Montgomery is another one. I don't actually agree with it, but I can see it. I do think they're gonna just feed Gibbs the ball more and more and more. They lose Ben Johnson. I'm not really sure the 2-headed monster really is going to be a thing there. It's not going to work as well. But Montgomery's getting older. Does anybody actually know how old he is?
He's 28, maybe.
Yeah, David Montgomery is
Look
28.
at that.
There you go.
Just
But
another-
yeah, Montgomery's a plotter. He does need touchdowns to get there for the most part. He gets a lot of usage inside the red zone, which is what carries his value. I mean, even last year, missing a bunch of games, he had 12 touchdowns. Could he get to 1,000 yards last year if he had not missed those games? Sure, it would have been a stretch. Definitely was a good player, but probably not going to have a lot of David Montgomery on my teams. Just I kind of am a little worried with the Ben Johnson removal there. I don't know. Any thoughts on that one, Corey or AJ?
I'll talk about George Kittle for a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm fine with George Kittle at the back of the third round there. Yes, the injuries are a bit concerning, of course, but he still played. That's 3 straight seasons he's played 15 or more games, and that's 4 straight seasons he's finished as a top 5 tight end. I said I want reliability out of my tight end, so if I can get him at the back of the third round, I don't like one of those. He's like Christian McCaffrey was already there, so I'm not really worried that Christian McCaffrey's taking a ton of volume away from him. He can still repeat that, so I'm fine with Christian McCaffrey with George Kittle at the back of the third round, or especially if I get him in the 4th round, I will take that all day.
Yeah, I like Kittle a lot too, so I don't have an issue taking him there. If he's fallen more into the 4th, I'm more likely to take him then. I feel like obviously that's a better value for what it is, because I do have a bit of a hard time kind of reaching for tight end that early. But it depends on who the first 2 picks are. If I lock up a top 5 receiver and somehow a top 5 running back, and then I can get Kittle, I'm feeling pretty good. But yeah, the other thing with Monty to look at is he started every game, like with Gibbs there. Basically, Gibbs, or not every game, but in 24, Gibbs only started 4 games out of 17, and 23 started 3 out of 15. I mean, like I said, Montgomery he's just a plotter. He's going to get there. He's going to have value in getting yardage and touches. He's got a good amount of first downs that he can get for you. I do see Gibbs, picking up there more. He's going to be the bigger receiving back, Gibbs. So I still think they're going to lean on Monty for rushing. He hasn't hit that 30-year-old cliff, but he's got some some tread wear on the tires. But I'm still believing in him this year.
So he averaged about 16 touches a game last season. Actually both the seasons that Jahmyr Gibbs has been in the league. I don't mind Montgomery, but I do think that comes down. Like the way that Jahmyr Gibbs looked without Montgomery at the end of the season there, as good as he was, I can't imagine that it doesn't drop to 14 touches a game, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but and the touchdowns, he's so touchdown dependent. So I like the player David Montgomery. I don't like the situation that he finds himself in. I would rather be getting him more in the like the Zach Charbonnet, because I think that's kind of what he's closer to. It's just we're assuming that it's going to be the same split. Well, it's a new offensive coordinator or play caller as Ben Johnson's gone. And so what happens if it's the Kenneth Walker Zach Charbonnet split, where I think Zach Charbonnet would be awesome if he played in that type of a role but it just isn't. So that's why I probably won't get a lot of Montgomery, but it's not that I don't like him. I just don't like the value you're getting him at. Yeah.
You also have to just worry about like the fact that he was getting 16 touches a game means they were running a boatload of plays. Are they going to do that again? We just don't know.
I mean, they were super efficient. Goff,
best offense in the league,
missed like 4 throws the entire year. So it's, I mean, the offense is going to keep moving regardless. Yeah. So.
All right, so next up here, small value here, Brian Robinson Jr. Going a little bit later than his ranking. I'm okay with it. I think he's another one of those like he's a product of the offense. He's not a great player by any means, but we know the Commanders are going to score some points, and he was efficient last year when he was on the field. I mean, he's not awesome. I think he's just one of those like, if he's scoring touchdowns, you're happy with him. He's going right around that same range. He's actually going a little bit later than Montgomery. I kind of would rather have Brian Robinson than David Montgomery at their price points because I think they could be similar players. You're paying up for what David Montgomery did, and I'm not sure that's what he's going to do. So, just my thoughts. Anything else? Or
my issue with Brian Robinson is that Austin Eckler capped all the pass catching work that he had.
Yep.
The year before, he had 40 targets. I think it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't like a massive number, but it just. I think he had 20 catches or so last season. That just caps it completely. So now it's all rushing, and Jayden takes some of that too. And so I'm not really interested in Brian Robinson.
Yeah, I mean, look, he was still getting. I mean, look, you're talking about who were we talking about earlier? Rachaad White getting 15, 16, 17 carries a game.
Yeah.
That is exactly where Brian Robinson is.
Yeah.
And he's the number one back. So, when they get down in the red zone, they're gonna use him a little bit. Yes, obviously Jaden Daniels does cap his ceiling, but I think at that price point, I think it's fair and not a huge target of mine. But it's the team falls in the right way. I think it's okay. Chad's over here saying Eckler has been vocal about wanting to take a step back. I actually haven't heard that. I'll have to look into that. That would be interesting. So the last couple here, Jaxon, Smith-Njigba, and Kenneth Walker going a little bit later than their consensus ranks here, including my ranks as well. Not quite as big on JSN, but I'm a larger gap on Kenneth Walker. I'm a huge Kenneth Walker fan. I just know that he does get banged up, and it does suck when he's not there, obviously. But I do think both those Seattle players there are a little undervalued. I do think JSN could be, huge this year. I really do think we could be looking next year and being like, he's a wide receiver 1 and not be blinking an eye at it at all. But quarterback issues there, I think, are what are driving his price point still down a little bit. Thoughts?
I'm in on JSN this year. I towards the end of last season, everything he did was great. I mean, everything all at least.
Ooh, AJ, sorry, we gotta meet you. It's getting worse, man. Sorry, I don't know what is going on. But Corey, we'll go to you just for a second. Give AJ a minute to.
I think it was he was about to say how much he likes JSN, and I can say the same thing. I love JSN. That's a player there if I can get him. I've seen him fall to like early into the third round. Like, as far as I'm concerned, it's a smash at that point. Yeah. The guy who had 137 targets last season with DK Metcalf in the offense, and while the quarterback play, I'm not loving Sam Darnold. Is Sam Darnold worse than Geno Smith? Like, I think it's comparable. So I think. If you're telling me that I think we get 160 targets out of JSN. If he catches 100 plus passes again, 1,200 yards, I'm all in. I've said I have JSN basically right on the same projection as Amon-Ra St. Brown, who goes.
We're going to be releasing some draft strategy articles here per draft slot. And I did the 101, and I did talk about some JSN in that article. So check those out. They should be. I'm hoping to get those released starting early next week, and just turn them out, all next week. So
I mean,
for that one.
Is that any better?
You're just loud.
It was super loud, but I think it's better now.
Yeah, it sounds good.
With JSN, I mean, he had 6 games in double-digit targets last year. 3 of those he had triple or double-digit receptions, and then he had a handful of games with 7 or more, on top of those. So he's getting targets, and that's in an offense that had DK Metcalf, had Kenneth Walker, well, for some of the games. He was just super reliable last year, and that's what I want to see out of my receivers. I don't know if I would trust him as a wide receiver one, but if I'm really stacked at running back and maybe reach on the early tight end.
You're not getting him that far. He's absolutely
know.
going no later than the early third.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If I have like 2 stud running backs or a running back and a solid tight end, maybe I can live with him being receiver 1. But
yeah,
I still think I'd rather him be my receiver 2.
Yeah, he's third on guys, so it's either running back, in my opinion, running back if you want to go to the quarterback, or get one of those top tight ends, and then take him. That's kind of the range he goes. It's fine. It's a little risky to have him as your wide receiver 1. Chad brings up Kupp. I kind of agree, man. I don't think Kupp's going to be much. Especially Kupp will get hurt eventually, but all right, that's what we've got for like the true values. We did want to kind of flip it real quick. We'll try to rapid fire through some of these to close it out. Want to flip it real quick and kind of just share with you some of these players who are going earlier than the consensus ranks, and we'll start off here right off the top here with Christian McCaffrey. ADP already inside the top 10, number 7 overall. Consensus ranks have him around 14. I've got him around 15. I'm going to say this. In Scott Fish, I was all about him being a top, 5-6 pick. I totally understood it. Volume-based guy. You got to beat 5,000 people to win that league. You've got to go for the home run. We know the ceiling Christian McCaffrey has. In your home leagues, absolutely not. Look, I said this on before the show started, and off air, and I've said it before on the show. You are not going to win your league with your first round pick, but you can absolutely lose it. And if you take a Christian McCaffrey and he, gets hurt, busts like he has a few times, then you're going to lose. Like, you're going to lose your league more often than not with a pick like that. Believe me, I know. I took him all over the place last year at 101. And the 1 year I got like the 101 like 4 times. Obviously, I took Christian McCaffrey all of them because he was a no-brainer pick. And I got burned in every single one of them except for 1. Christian McCaffrey in the almost first, he's nearing halfway of the first round, is just crazy to me. I can't understand it. In a home league where you could play it a little safer in a home league in most of the time.
So I agree. I don't think I will get much Christian McCaffrey at all. I'd rather have, Devon Achane. We already talked about him. I'd rather have Devon Achane than Christian McCaffrey at this point. And I don't think that's probably popular, but I will try to rationalize why someone would take Christian McCaffrey that high. And it's the 2 seasons ago, 2,100 yards, over 20 touchdowns. But even last season, in the 3 games he played, started and finished, right? He got 19 touches, including 6 catches, 23 touches, including 4 catches, and 14 touches, including 3 catches. So they still use him a lot. And that was a Niners team that, was not what we've come to expect due to injuries and poor performance. But I think if he's healthy, you could still bank the workload will be there. But he said, you can lose it in the first round. Could Devon Achane get hurt? Absolutely. He could. I do know this as far as I know, he does not have Achilles tendonitis, which is chronic, right? And that's the thing here. It's a chronic Achilles injury. And so if you're going to take Christian McCaffrey, I would push up Isaac Orlando 2 rounds. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Take him, jump 2 rounds on ADP and get Isaac Orlando and just stash him on your bench all season. And if you never use him, that's gold, because then Christian McCaffrey stayed healthy. But otherwise, you have got to have him on your bench.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you, and I actually do have Achan ranked one slot higher, so I'm totally there with you as well. AJ, anything you want to add or move on to the next?
No, we can move.
So I'll let you go first with Travis Kelce here. He's a guy who is going at number 67 overall ADP or consensus ranks, and mine are right around 80. I don't want Kelce. I don't slowing down big time, in my opinion. We saw it last year. I think there's still talent there, but it's just not going to be like it's just not going to be consistent enough for me to want to take him there. There's a lot of other younger tight ends coming up the ranks here who I would rather take a chance on in that range. There's also just other players in general in that range of the draft that I would much rather have than Travis Kelce. I don't think he's a difference maker anymore. And we know the Chiefs are getting a bunch of weapons back. So how much better is Kelce going to get? I don't know. I just don't understand how this works. I think he's being drafted off name value. I don't know. AJ?
Yeah, I definitely think there's still a high name value effect going on with Kelce. He's 35 years old now. As you said, he's slowing down. Just looking at his stats in general, he had 133 targets last year, caught 97. Year before, 121, caught 93. 2022 was his outlier year where he had 152 targets and caught over 100. He hadn't done that since 20, and then again back in 18. Those are the only 3 years where he's actually had over 100 receptions. The bigger thing for me is the massive yardage drop coming out of 22, where he had 1338 yards receiving. He dropped under 1,000 in 23. And then under 825 technically in 24, and he only missed one game last year. So I just, it sucks to see, but I mean, this is what happens. That guys are going to get old. They're going to lose productivity, and you hit it on the head with all these guys that are coming back too. So I think he's still going to have valuable weeks, but I just can't bank on that and trying to pick and choose which ones they're going to be.
Yeah. Corey, anything or?
The ADOT is just a steady downward climb. It was 9.2, then 9, 8.5, 7.4, 7.1, 6.7. Now we're down to 6.4. It's just getting shorter and shorter as he loses athleticism and age. So with the news alert here, with the possible and likely suspension of Rashee Rice, I do think in a PPR league, I'm okay with him at that cost. I am fine with him at that cost because I do think he's going to get a lot of targets still. Are they going to be valuable targets? Probably not. But, if you told me that Travis Kelce had another season where he caught 100 passes, I honestly wouldn't be surprised by that, but it might be something like 100 catches for like 800 yards and 5 touchdowns because he is not getting downfield anymore. But I do think in a PPR league, he can still carry value in the mid rounds.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of where I would be looking for him if I was still searching for a tight end, but I don't know. He's kind of like the last bigger name that I feel comfortable going after, just knowing he should still get plenty of targets. The yardage drop and the ADOT just worries me. And then, the end zone lacking ability there really sucks. I mean, he only had 3 touchdowns last year.
Yeah, I mean, just to let you know, like some of the guys that are going around him in overall ADP right now, you're passing up on not a ton of names. So like the ADP that's being pulled here, I believe that we were looking at was just it was mostly it's mostly half PPR league. So I had to filter out a couple of sources because I know that they're PPR only. But if we're going around the ADP of like 67 here overall, then you're passing up on names. Do you like George Pickens more, Travis Hunter more, RJ Harvey, Jaylen Waddle, Judkins, who knows at this point? TJ Hawkinson is going right around that range too. And then we got Aaron Jones, Chris Godwin, Calvin Ridley is a few picks later. Yep. So there's some guys who I think can.
I'll certainly take Jaylen Waddle. We already talked about that. I take Jaylen Waddle. I don't know. There's some of those names I don't know if I'm really.
I don't love it.
Yeah, I don't love that area.
But he falls into that I don't love it either range.
Sure.
And it's just kind of like, so this is honestly a range in the drafts I've noticed this year where it's just kind of like there's some upside rookies who are getting smashed in here, and then there's older guys who are just there because they've done it before and hopefully they'll do it close enough again. This range of the draft is. This range of the draft stinks. It smells.
That's a good question.
It's not good.
That's a good question there.
I mean, you're potentially looking at his teammate Worthy is up at 57. So that's a little higher.
Who do you think will lead the Chiefs in touchdown? Is that the question?
That's a good question.
Patrick Mahomes.
Oh man, you're a jerk.
Oh man.
If Pacheco can stay healthy, it's Pacheco. If Rice wasn't going to be suspended, if he doesn't,
he is
suspended, is it? I mean, it's going to happen. I don't think
he's going to get suspended.
Yeah, I mean, if he somehow doesn't get suspended, I think he's a candidate. After that, I mean, I'm just assuming health. It's Pacheco. That's the guy there.
What about receiving touchdowns, though? Well, we think Patrick Mahomes has 30 receiving touchdowns in him, right? Or passing touchdowns, right?
Yeah.
I still think Patrick Mahomes has 30 passing touchdowns in him, right?
I mean, some will go to Pacheco, some will still go to Rice because Rice will play this year. Worthy will be
involved. There's going to be a handful to go.
Hollywood Brown will go.
Noah Gray.
You'll get Noah Gray. You'll get
fifth tight end.
You'll get some Brashard,
some linemen.
You get some Kareem Hunt. There's going to be so many guys that catch the ball. It's going to be maddening to have these guys. But it's that's a great question, Kyle.
It is.
I mean, so that's interesting. We do have a question, do we? Hey, weird league. How would you approach drafting half PPR Superflex league? Go get quarterbacks and then draft the rest. That's how Superflex works. I don't know. Superflex leagues to me is just push quarterbacks up a ton until you get to how far do you have to go before you're I don't really want these guys over. I mean, obviously your Jamar Chases get mixed into the first round, those kind of guys. You don't see massive gaps in quarterbacks being drafted until you probably get to
after Kyler Murray.
Yeah, he's kind of the last running quarterback, I guess. But
I still think you're going to get big time. I'm trying to pull up my actual. I just updated them today. So I'm looking at I'm trying to think to where you're going to see massive gap in the range that these quarterbacks get taken. You probably won't start seeing big gaps until you get to I don't know, how far do we go? Goff and Love, or even farther, maybe when you get to McCarthy, Stroud, Stafford range, and then you're going to start seeing big gaps and big runs on position players. I just think the first 24 quarterbacks go so quickly in those leagues, and then it's the first 3 rounds, 24 quarterbacks gone. It almost feels like that's, I don't know. To me, it's kind of that's kind of what happens.
The McCarthy hype keeps building.
It does,
dude.
Totally does.
I'm loving it.
All right, last up here. New hometown boy for me, Deebo Samuel, going a little bit, going technically later than, or going earlier than and everybody has him ranked, and I even got him ranked lower than that. I am not a big Deebo stan here. I didn't mind the trade because we didn't give up a lot for him, and why not? But fantasy wise, I can't with him. We know he's injury prone, and now, of course, things will change if McLaurin gets moved or totally holds out. He's not going to hold out. But if he does somehow get traded, then Deebo Samuel's value goes through the roof. But I don't know. I don't like Deebo's going like 2 rounds earlier than where I've got him right now. Y'all can have him at that price. No thanks.
Yeah. I'm not touching him there.
I guess I'm not going to sit here and like pound the table for Deebo Samuel or anything, but like I will say I was amazed that he played 15 games last year because it felt like he played about 6. So good for him.
He gets taken off the field so many times. That's
it's the Jaylen Waddle, right?
Did anybody watch wide receiver on Netflix? He comes off the field like every other game, sometimes multiple times. It's crazy. It's like
the way I can try to rationalize this pick is the way that they used Diami Brown / Olamide Zaccheaus / Noah Brown last year with all these short routes, right? Which is what he's good at. So he's like bubble screens, get the ball to him in a hurry, pick up yardage because everybody's focused on Jaden Daniels. And that's what he's good at, but that's how he gets hurt so much. So if he slips, I'll take him. I don't want him at that cost either. But that is, I guess, how you rationalize this, is that they made Olamide Zaccheaus valuable and like times.
Yeah, I did think about pulling the trigger on him and Scott Fish. I'm trying to remember where he went now. It was, oh man, where did he go? Yeah, so he went in the 9th round, pick 12. I had just taken Jacoby Myers, and I was thinking if he came back around to me in the 10th, I was probably going to pull the trigger on Deebo.
So who are some other receivers that went around there?
So Jalen Reed, Pearsall, kind of funny. Mooney went a few ahead of him. Olave went ahead of him. We've talked about that.
Is there weird scoring at receivers, or is it no?
So this is one where so Scott Fish is points, half a point per rush, and then it's because we're sleeper, it's 2.5 points per reception, and then but over on my fantasy league is 1 point per target and then 1 point per reception.
So confusing.
Yeah, it is. This all needs to go in the same.
I will say this: I think the rushing is all but gone. Like I don't expect him to get.
No, I don't either. Especially with Jaden Daniels there, like he didn't play for a quarterback who could run like that, so they used him. And that's not going to be a thing this year. You're going to rely on all pass receiving, and I just don't buy it. So I'm out on him. But yeah, I mean, had I gotten him at, what would that have been? 10-8. I don't even like that's a value.
The last set of non-values, though, rookies.
Oh yes, all of them. By the way, guys, all of them getting pushed up the board. I mean, we're not going to go one by one here. Travis Hunter, Tyler Warren, Ebuka, JJ McCarthy, Bashal Tootin, Matthew Golden, Jaden Blue, Cam Ward. I'm sure there's more. Like Trey Harris,
Jaden Higgins.
All of them. I probably missed a couple. I just started highlighting a bunch of them in here. But Jaden Higgins, every single one of the rookies getting pushed up the board. Sometimes multiple rounds. Guys, the new shiny toy is not, don't fall for it. I mean, I'm okay with some of these guys, but we're talking about pushing Matthew Golden up two rounds from where his consensus is, and I'm a little bit higher on him than that. But we just get a little overboard with this. I think this is like the dynasty brain, just going in to some of these. because these are early ADPs at this point. So my guess is that I know the ADP doesn't include Dynasty, but my guess is that some people that are drafting this early probably also play Dynasty, so they get kind of sucked into the rookie hype. Now you're talking about McCarthy. He keeps climbing, and I kind of see that is going to keep going. But I don't know. Are you okay with any of these? Taking a chance early on some of these rookies from their ADP currently right now? I'm probably not these guys.
I'm definitely out on Cam Ward at that cost. I mean, that's just absurd.
Well, he's like super
kind
late.
He's kind of his own like standout away from these guys.
He's also like the last one being taken too, so it doesn't really matter.
I don't get why he's going so early. Like, I feel like I get him in every draft I take, and I never take him until after pick 200.
Yeah. His
ADP
ADP is somehow 145. That doesn't make any sense.
I take him towards the end of drafts, and I think he's awesome at that because like there's some rushing upside there. But no, I'm not paying 145 for him. There's no chance of doing that.
If I wait on quarterback, which I'm likely to do this year, and I do get like a JJ McCarthy, and I know JJ McCarthy isn't a rookie. I put him in there because look, he has not played the NFL snap. Like, sorry, he's still a rookie for me. If I do get a JJ McCarthy or say a Drake May as my QB1, end of the draft, fine. I'll take Cam Ward, and maybe he surprises. I'm not banking on it, but worst comes to worst, you've wasted your last pick on somebody who'll drop, which you probably would have anyway. So who cares, right? That one I'm kind of okay with. Jaden Blue, I guess. Again, we've talked about the Dallas situation. I don't really want anything to do with it. People are pushing Jaden Blue up just because I think they don't like Williams, and I think it's Williams is the one that you should take the chance on out of all of them. I don't like any of them really, but I get. I don't know. None of these guys really super excite me. Travis Hunter is just. I just don't know what to do with. I just don't know what to do with him.
Yeah, I feel like he's the one I would go after the most out of this list. But I mean, again, based on where he's going, do you want Travis Hunter or do you want Travis Kelce? You know what you're getting with Kelce. Who knows what's going to come with Hunter.
I think the one I want the most is Matthew Golden because I do think there is a chance that he is the top receiver on his team. I don't think there's a chance for any of the rest of those rookies like Travis Hunter, Jack Bash, Jaden Higgins, like they all have established. I do think there's like Matthew Golden could lead the Packers in targets this season. I don't think I'd be really overly surprised by that. So
there's still just so many people.
There are so many options.
That is a tricky one.
Yep. But that's the one I'm willing to take now, not at that. What is 103? That's like the 8th.
That's pricey.
That's like the 9th round. So no, but if I can get him like the 11th round, I suppose I would be interested. But yeah, rookies always get pushed up, man. The shiny new toy is always fun to have when it hits, but it's not. But then you also get the ones that don't hit.
That's yes. It is hard. It is hard to pass on that. It's the what if game. It's the man, but what if they're so awesome? What if they become, Malik Neighbors?
You might get a Jacoby Myers out of them instead of just taking Jacoby Myers. Seriously, that's what happens.
I agree, man. I agree.
News and notes.
Yeah, let's close things out here with news. I'll rip through all the headlines. You guys can grab a couple here. Let me pull it up here. So, news today, which shook up the fantasy football world. Justin Fields carted off the field. About an hour later, we heard that it was a dislocated toe. We don't know the severity of what that means and how long he's going to be out, but that is much better news than what being carted off the field sounded like early on. I will say that at least. Of course, we talked about Rashee Rice already. We just it's just, we're just waiting for the suspension, in my opinion. Quinshon Judkins, I was away for 3 days, didn't know the news that had broken out with him and the Browns, and that he, I knew that he got, got the police report against him and all that stuff. I knew that. But just like any of these other ones, it's like Rashee Rice, like it'll be next year, right? And little did I know, and I wasn't paying attention to the details because I was away for 3 days, that he has yet to sign with the Browns, and they basically told him, you can stay home until this is all figured out. Well, that's not good. So I took him and Scott Fish, and I'm just hoping they figure this out. Not that I'm rooting for the guy technically, but I kind of want him on my fantasy team. Mike Williams retired. That was kind of random. So there's the Quentin Johnston hype there. Darren Waller on the pup, mentioned that one. Terry McLaurin's contract situation is getting pretty ugly. He has been officially placed on the did not participate list, or whatever it's called. Will Levis, shoulder surgery, off-season shoulder surgery. He's going to be done for the year. You mentioned Noah Fant released, and Nyheim Hines returns with the Chargers. You got to believe that this is just like insurance, right? For Najee Harris, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep, Najee rocking that eye patch still, waiting for it.
Yeah. They have. Last I heard about Najee is that the team hasn't even seen him yet, or if they have, like nothing has been released about how bad this is.
I think he also got placed on.
He hasn't seen them either.
They're coming in again.
John Cena style. Can't see me.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I have not. Najee Harris finally shows up to Chargers camps, and fans don't know what to think. What? That's a great headline. Good job.
Who's this guy?
I'm clicking on it. Come on, give me a picture, people.
Yeah.
Who knows? But that's different from anything I've heard so far. But yeah. Who wants to go first? Y'all can fight it out.
I mean, Najee just needs, a corncob pipe and a can of spinach.
Part of the news. Sure.
He's going to be a Popeye, want to be there. But
he was wearing shades and a hoodie, so you can't see his eye.
Oh, dude, it's the John Cena dude. You can't see me.
Did anybody see the white cane he was holding?
That's awesome.
All right. I'll start with this. Mike Williams. I mean, he's had a decent career. I feel like he's the ultimate boom bust guy every year. He's productive when he booms, but he's very hard to own when he busts. So I'm not surprised to see it. I kind of felt like when I initially heard it, it was like, oh, wait, what? Didn't he just go back? And then it's like, well, yeah, okay, I guess it makes sense. Waller on the pup, we already talked about that. Not a surprise there either. The guy hasn't played football in 46 years, so he's going to need some time to get back to football speed.
46 years.
I'm just throwing numbers out. All right, it's probably a year, but still. How productive was he in that last time that he played? Meh.
Wasn't great.
Will Levis. I mean, was anybody even drafting Will Levis as the Cam Ward handcuff? No. This isn't even news. This is just like, hey, something happened today in the town of blah, blah, blah in the middle of North Dakota. Not that that's where it was, but nobody outside of anybody who is relevant cares about this. Fant released, that hurt me in Scott Fish, I will admit. I drafted him like right before this news hit, and I was like, all right, he's one of the last good tight ends that I can really go after and have as like a third tight end, and now I'm back to 2 tight ends, so that was cool.
Let's see here. I guess we had to talk about Justin Fields. The dislocated toe doesn't sound as bad as it had to be. Like, or like all the speculation that he was basically shot on the field. It looked like everybody's like, "Oh man, he's out for the season." Like, "Oh, it's gonna be terrible." And it's like, well, it's not his big toe. It's slightly dislocated. They seem optimistic that he won't miss any regular season games. I don't think you'll probably see him a whole lot. And for a guy who struggles to pass the ball going into a new offense, I don't really love that. I don't think it probably matters to him too much. Like, I'd still value him as a borderline QB1 because of the rushing upside. But like I said, like, I won't touch Garrett Wilson in the top 4 rounds. That just won't happen for me. Maybe bump Breece Hall a little bit, but that's not much anything. We talked about Rashee Rice. Quinshon Judkins. So the thing about Quinshon Judkins is, like, if he's not there, who's there to run the ball? And I know Joe texted me like last week because he was doing his draft about taking Jerome Ford. And I said, well, Jerome Ford was there last year, and I was never excited to play him. So I don't think
Samson, dude.
And so then that's the thing. Like,
I think people are sleeping on Samson. I really do like him.
So that's as I say. Like, I think Dylan Sampson, if Quinshon Judkins is out, and we don't know that yet, this is all speculation, right? Like, maybe he didn't do anything. We don't know that. But right now, you should push Dylan Sampson up a round or two. Dylan Sampson, another rookie out of Tennessee. He is extremely fast. I do a lot of like draft stuff for a different company. My issue with basically any player out of Tennessee at this point is it's so hard for them to translate because their offense is so wide open. Look at Jaylen Wright, who didn't really do anything at all with Miami the year before. See Cedric Tillman, who it took 3 years for. See Jalen Hyatt, who I think is still on the Giants, even though he's never done anything there. See Hendon Hooker, who has never done anything in the NFL. All those players were top 100 picks, and they have not done anything. So I like Dylan Sampson. I think he'll get a chance. Just keep in mind that it's very difficult for Tennessee players to seemingly translate to the NFL. And the only other one, no, I don't think on Nyheim Hines. Terry McLaurin's contract situation, I think they'll get it resolved. I don't love him missing practice. Right now, I said you've got to bump him. Like, I think he still has a 4th round ADP. Like, no, I will not take him there. I'll be fine getting him like the 5th, 6th round until we get some resolution there. And we're here at July 24th. So we've got time. Like, I know we're talking about this now. There is still time. Like, if Terry McLaurin signs his contract August 10th, like, he's got 2 weeks, right? Or so, I'll be fine with still taking him, maybe not the 4th round, but early. But if the longer it bleeds, the less likely I am to have him on any of my teams, because it will take him. I don't care how good Terry McLaurin is; he's awesome. It will take him a while to get up to speed. He can be all the training he wants. It's not NFL work. So
we see it with like we saw it with CD Lane last year. He started off super slow, man. And he's one of the best. So yeah, I feel like right now I've still got McLaurin ranked high, but like as this goes, it's gonna fall. And rightfully so.
I think we need to end with Jamie's comment there.
Doesn't matter who runs the ball. It's the friggin' Browns. They suck.
Oh, it's so good.
All right. And we are out. Subscribe, leave those comments, become an All Access member. See you later.